If your company is not doing this, I think you might be by the end of this video. There are a lot of tools out there that will tell you who is visiting your website. So some of them will try to tell you the actual user based on cookies. Others will tell you the company. Some might try to do both. And typically the company information is based on like a reverse IP lookup where they're trying to triangulate basically where the web traffic is coming from. Nonetheless, you might end up with a list every day, maybe every week, depending on the cadence of your reporting software. And you'll have a list of companies that have visited your site. And it's only so useful, right? Maybe there's a company that came inbound that you're working with, and it's like a sign that maybe they're ready to re-engage. Maybe your deal kind of stalled and you can use it to reach back out. But if you don't know the company, what are you supposed to do? Because typically you don't have contact information. So here is a perfect example of what I would do, what I actually just did a few hours ago, and the results. So a company came inbound. Now, we don't know that company. We don't have any contacts for that company, but we know they visited our site. So we use two different tools for pulling lists. One is ZoomInfo, the other one is Apollo. Took the company, passed into both of those tools, pulled down all the contacts that they had, and sent them over to HubSpot via the integration. So now the contacts are sitting inside of HubSpot if I want to send an email. And I also have a spreadsheet local to my machine that I could, look at, filter, try to figure out what's going on, what type of roles I have. Now, the company that visited was rather small. I think there was only 5 total contacts. So not a ton to choose from. So now what? Now I have contacts. Now I know that this company came to the site. So what am I supposed to do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them an email. And now there's 2 schools of thoughts, right? You could send them an email and kind of just generically mention, like a standard cold email. Hey, I'm Nate from Adams, blah, 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 blah. Or, and this is what I did, you can say, full transparency, we think somebody from your company was just on our website and we wanted to connect. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT. I passed in a URL for the company that visited the site. Had it do a little bit of research to help me understand what they did. Now, there is a full project on Adams that talks about everything that Adams does. It has, all of our factories. It knows all of our solutions, all of our capabilities. It is basically a resource that ChatGPT can reference to put together any different type of copy that I might want because it knows everything about us. I don't have to feed it any context. So now I know that this company visited our website. I have contacts for that company. I have some context around what that company does, and then obviously I know what we do. So I put together an email, and first line of that email, full transparency. We think somebody from your company just visited our site. We'd love to connect. Then I just went into a short intro about us, how we think about ourselves, about what we understand about their business, about how we think that we might be able to collaborate. I sent that email off this morning, like at 10:30. I sent 3 emails, 3 people that I thought might resonate, the messaging might resonate with. An hour later, I get an email back from one of them, and it says, oh yeah, we were on your website. We were looking for help in XYZ. Now, I took that response, I forwarded it over to Jeff, and now hopefully Jeff is going to follow up and have a meeting with them. But that is how you can use technology to help facilitate that business, because they might have come back tomorrow. Maybe they went and filled out a form and, they would contact us. But instead, I initiated that action, and then they're just responding to the fact that I reached out to them. Some people might feel a certain way about some of this tracking, like information, like, oh, they know that, I went to their site. And I think that the best way to handle that is just to be fully transparent and just let them know, hey, we saw that you came to our site, or we think that you came to our site, and we're here to help. I think that putting that immediately up front kind of disarms them so that they're not wondering, like, well, how do they know? You tell them straight up, hey, this is how I know. And the reason that I do that is so that I can then help, right? So I think that that's a really good example of 2 things. One, how to use technology to help your leads process, but then also to help you, take advantage of any inbound traffic on your site, especially those that don't convert via a form or don't send you an email. And the others is that nothing about that process scales. Nothing about me going and manually researching something, passing records into ZoomInfo, passing records into Apollo, crafting a message, sending the actual email myself. None of those things scale. But what it does is it starts to lay out the foundation of a workflow that you could automate, right? You could automate the workflow to pull the list down from that third-party source that is giving you the list of contacts or of companies that are visiting your site, and then you could pass that into ZoomInfo. You could pass it into Apollo. Then you could get the contacts back, right? And then you could take those list of companies and you could do research on them, right? You could have an agent do research on them. You could have an agent present what it thinks a good message might be for that company. So I say all of this to really drive home the point that, one, oftentimes the issue that we have is not a lack of information, right? You might have the list every single day of people that visit your website, but you're not exactly sure what to do with it, so you don't do anything, and then that information is not helpful. So I would really just think about this as a very simple, a very direct action that you could take when you are reviewing those website visitors, right? And also, this is exactly how I would build the automation for something like this. I would do it manually a few times. I would try to understand what the nuance was, where the gotchas were. Is this something that I could fully automate? Will I need to keep a human in the loop? For example, do I want to review the list of companies it's going to reach out to make sure that it's not reaching out to, bankers and real estate professionals or life insurance people? Probably, right? I'm going to want to pare that down to our target audience. But doing it yourself, doing it manually, figuring out the steps, being able to lay that out in a workflow is exactly what would lead you to being able to automate. Now, the beautiful thing about automating is that it just so happens the contacts and the company I reach out today, they converted and they're interested and hopefully we set up a meeting and that turns into a deal and this all pays off. But sometimes it won't, right? Sometimes you'll reach out to a company and they just happen to be on your site and it wasn't a good fit. And that's fine, right? If you are thinking about human labor, you might have to triage that and that might fall to the wayside. It might not be worth your time to do something like that. But if you can use automation to make that process happen more efficiently, a lot faster, without someone having to do all of the individual research, all the emails, then you could do something with a much lower conversion rate at scale and still take advantage of that smaller population where it would have worked. So wanted to share that. I thought it was pretty cool. Excited to see what happens with this project. But again, that is how you can take that information and create an action around it to hopefully help drive sales in your business.